A little while back, I made a video about getting lost on this mountain, but in order to tell that story, I had to leave out a lot of stuff that happened that day. So this here is the other half, the messy, gritty, incoherent part that hasn't been told. This is a story about storytelling, and about grit. It's inspired by one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite authors, Vladimir Nabokov, who once wrote, "I have rewritten, often several times, every word I have ever published. My pencils outlast their erasers." So think of this story as a revision of that other story, all the same scenes, all imbued with different meaning. We begin in the morning with that fateful breakfast of soaked quinoa and mushroom soup. As Dana kindly explains, the night before we'd run out of gas.
Last night we ran out of gas, but only after we already put a soup together.
So the pot of quinoa we're heating up was actually supposed to be dinner, not breakfast, because the day before we'd done a really challenging 6-hour hike, and just as we were halfway through cooking dinner, our camp stove died. So we wake up, we're unusually hungry, we buy some more gas, get ready to start cooking, and then we find our food bag covered with slugs. This really should have been the first warning that maybe a big breakfast wasn't such a good idea, but we ignored it and proceeded to eat heaps of food. And even though the soup hadn't gone bad overnight, in hindsight I can now see that psychologically we both felt a little grossed out, both because the food bag had been covered in slugs inside and out, and because the soaked soup had been sitting out all night and the rehydrated mushrooms in it tasted a little too funky. Any other day we would have decided to wait in camp a couple hours before doing any strenuous hiking. But on this particular day I'd made us a reservation at the Kallinga house for the last available night the entire summer. And in order to be guaranteed the bed you reserve, you have to arrive by 7 p.m. because it gets so crowded in the summer months. So off we hurried to the foot of the mountain to begin the hardest hike we'd ever done, on the heels of the second hardest hike of our lives, each with a 50-pound backpack on our shoulders. And a few miles into that hike, Dana started to feel really nauseous. And even though she kept on hiking, quietly putting one foot in front of the other, eventually there came a moment when Dana had to decide if she could keep on going to the top or if we should head back to camp. And at exactly that point in the trail, I picked up this little rock to commemorate the moment where Dana decided to tough it out and push past the nausea and the stomach pain. What makes this decision so special to me isn't that Dana was able to overcome some physical discomfort. It's where and how she chose to do so. You see, at the time, we both thought we had already tackled a good portion of the ascent, but in reality, we hadn't even reached the face of the mountain at all. So this rock is a reminder of that moment, of the grit it took to put one foot in front of the other and never give up, even when it started raining and we got lost. Grit is about showing up every day and putting in the work. It's about small individual actions leading to greater accomplishments. And while not every problem in life is as easily solved as climbing up a mountain, when you approach bigger problems with grit, when you chip away at them one day at a time and break them into hundreds of tiny problems, it's incredible what you can accomplish. Because the real power of grit is that it's not about being talented or gifted. It's simply about showing up and putting in the work. We didn't know how to make or edit videos a few years ago, and yet here we are now, slowly building a channel that will one day be able to support us. A chaotic video library with a single unifying theme: grit.
The big reveal!
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. What do you think?
Looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good.
I need to go look.
Yeah.
You've actually been promising to make me jewelry since we met.
6 years.
Is it 6? Maybe even 7
7.
years ago. I feel very lucky.
But I did it.
You finally made it.
Yeah.
Oh, it only took making a video.
Thanks, YouTube. What do you think?
I really love it. I want to look in the mirror again.
Yeah, you should.